This is Grow by Design. Are you a business owner struggling with the direction of your company? Do you hesitate, wanting things to be perfect before you take action? Do you question your strength as a leader? If you answer yes to any of these questions, this is the show for you.
All right, we are back again. Today, we are talking about ideal client and selling to that person. And this is inspired by something that happened at our Florida location just this week. Super exciting time. In the midst of a crazy year and getting things rocking and rolling, we've sold our largest project we have ever sold in Florida. And, to this date, we hadn't sold a six-figure project here yet. This is our first one. We've sold some big ones. We've sold really, really close. We haven't crossed that line, and we just did this past week. And it made me thinking about a very, very important topic. This client that was sold, the largest project we've had yet, was our ideal client. He was the exact, him and her, whatever you're trying to say, him and his wife, they were the exact type of client that we want to sell projects to. Not because they just accepted this big project, but because everything was the way it should be. They wanted high-end materials. They wanted really to be blown away by their property. They wanted really a project that was exactly what they wanted. They didn't want to put a limit on it. They wanted it to be what they wanted. They weren't constrained by a budget. And so for me, those have always been the really exciting ones, because sometimes a budget limit, not that we just want to spend every cent in the world, but a budget limit keeps you from building really, really cool things from time to time. And so where this conversation is going about your ideal client, think back and look at over the past, if you're a brand new company, just the few people you've worked with, if you worked for a few years or longer, look at the 5 people that you have just enjoyed to work with the most, right? And I'm sure those names are going to pop right to your head. There's going to be reasons, right? That the project was great and the communication was easy to have with these people. They didn't question things. They accepted, and we made changes quickly. They weren't hard to work with. They lived in this XYZ neighborhood, There was these particular things about them. So list the 5 people that you like to work with the most, and then start to look at the commonalities, the similarities between those people, and start using that to build your ideal client, because that's who you actually want to work with. And with that, when I say this large project was our ideal client, it's because it kind of checked those boxes. Wanted to build something cool. That's really what we like to do. And we really want to be able to build exactly what someone wants. Didn't hesitate or worry about it. Was like, man, that all makes sense, and just pulled the trigger and signed the estimate. Was excited about the process, all these little things, right? And so you're going to look at those attributes, those things, and you're going to compare them across all 5. And with that, you're going to use that to have a picture, or they say avatar, of your ideal client. And when you build this avatar, you start to realize, okay, what were the similarities? This much expensive a house, like their house was in between this and this in price range. Married, potentially, kids, potentially, all these little things that it might seem so minute and doesn't matter, but these people like this type of restaurant, they have this type of level of furniture or level of, aesthetic appeal and approach taken to their home, meaning they have a high level of care about how they keep things, right? All these little details, they're going to go together, and it's going to help you build your avatar, which is the person you love working with, your ideal client. And that ideal client allows you to now go out and get more of that ideal client. And so often, I still struggle with this now, because I know who I really like to work with, but how often do I really hone back in? I'm going to take my own advice. This is really me talking through the things that I know we need to hone back in on and focus back in on. This allows us to market to exactly who we want to market to. Income level, house, area, neighborhood. Maybe you realize that those top 5 people all come from this specific zip code. Doesn't mean you can't work out of that zip code, but it means that maybe that zip code has way more people than just those 5, and you need to be doing way more work in that area, right? And so you start to find these things, and so you pull at the strings of what made that relationship good to really understand it, and then market to that type of person. Also, look at what you fixed for them. Why did they enjoy working with you? What was it about your company that allowed you to really serve them well? And how do you appeal to their needs? And how do you fix their problems? Because in business, all we're getting paid in relation to the size of problems we can fix, right? So the bigger job means you can fix a bigger problem. The more money you make means you fix bigger problems. So whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. So how does your company appeal to these 5? And then list that out and then craft your marketing around the way it appeals to them, right? Maybe they care about speed because they really care about their house being able to be used for events and get-togethers and things. And if they have a company, like price isn't even an object, maybe speed is everything. And all they care about is a company coming in, doing a good job and getting out as quick as possible. And cost is irrelevant. And when it comes to work and anything that is sold, you can only get a few things, right? You can get speed, you can get quality, you can get price. Those are 3 things you can pick from. You can't get all 3. You can usually pick about 2 of those. You can't pick all 3. Everybody wants all 3. They want it as fast as they can, as cheap as they can, and have the best quality. And that's just not how it works. But so maybe you start to realize your avatar is all about the speed, all about the quality. Price is totally irrelevant. And then so you can advertise about how your company starts a project and finishes a project, how your focus is a turnkey solution without hiccups, that is produced as quickly as possible at the highest quality. I'm not a marketer by any means, but I'm thinking about all the little pieces of you play to what your avatar wants. You look at what they want and you build it around that. And so this past week really just made me realize, man, we've had some really cool projects. I can name, just because the size is big doesn't mean it's the best project though. Here's another story, with this avatar thing. Don't get hung up on, maybe the sweet spot for you is these $5,000 little boutique things that, you're able to do 3 a day. I don't know what it is, right? Whatever your kind of business is. But we had our other large project, the second largest project we've done so far here in Florida, I think was $78,000 or $80,000. We still love working with these people, but they are probably not, they're much harder to work with and much harder to keep things on track. And so it doesn't make them a bad client by any means. We know what we're getting into, but if we were to look at and add it all up as an ideal client, it is, it's maybe not as perfectly in line, but they're still awesome people. We still love working with them. But if we're going to look for the commonalities of the people that checked all the boxes. You made the great profit. You had the great relationship. They became raving fans of yours. All of these things, because on the tail end of this, when you look at those 5, I think one of the key contributing factors of them being on that top 5 list is they also became raving fans of yours and then went out and did marketing for you. Meaning they talked well about you to everyone they met over and over and over and over and over. And then they spent all this money, and then that becomes a referral source for you to get more and more and more work. How often do you think about this? How often have you ever given any thought to your ideal client, exactly who it is you want to work for, what it is they like, where it is they like to eat, who it is they like to be around, what type of things matter to them, what kind of problems do they have? If I ask that question and you say, I don't, honestly, give much time at all to that question, or I don't give much time to that thought at all, that answer is going to be a telling thing for you to realize where your mindset is now. To me, if you say, yeah, I don't really ever think about that. That's not something I put top of mind. That means in your business, you're probably very stuck in the minutia. You're stuck in doing the things. And so instead of with your eyes up and out and looking at where you can go and how you can build this thing, you've got your eyes down in the it's not a bad place. Like, your business is awesome. Like, it's great to work in the business, but you got your eyes down in the business, just being just a straight up operator. And that can be a limiting factor in keeping you from being able to expand your business, because you're never going to be able to grow and flourish and take advantage of all these ideas out there that you can plug into your business and make it better when you're just looking down at, like, how do we keep it happening? How do we keep it working? Blah, 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 blah. And, you're super hyper focused on that. So I'm trying to give a little context from all ends of this and just food for thought. It's not bad if you're still that operator. It's not bad because, I'm still an operator a lot of times, but I do know that you can only operate so much. And if you don't see yourself outside of that ring ever, and you're not developing the business, you're not looking outside of the business, looking at how do we make this thing better, you're never going to truly be able to scale the company to what it can be. And that goes back to why you maybe never thought about your ideal client that much, or you haven't gave it that much thought at all. So today, short, punchy, very straightforward principle that will help you grow your company, that will help you become a better business owner, that will allow you to get your brand, your business out in front of more people that you want to work with the most. I hope this has helped you. Share this with someone else who needs to know more about their ideal client, and make sure you do your best to keep your eyes up, out, and growing your business.